Hey preppers, good morning and welcome to you from Treasure Island, Florida on a beautiful yet cloudy day down here along the Gulf. We are enjoying a little R&R time down here in Florida. Really having a good time. Food's great, people are great, everything's good. But what we're talking about today is we're talking about hurricanes. All right, so we are into the second month of hurricane season. Basically runs from June 1st through October, although it's not unusual to get them before the season and after the season. What we're going to talk about a little bit is what you need to do to be prepared for hurricane season. A lot of you people that live down in the hurricane zone know exactly what to do. Some of you that live down here are still oblivious to what you should be doing. And there's a lot of new Midwesterners and East Coasters that have moved to Florida recently and aren't really sure. There's so many different websites you can go to check on what you really need to do. And one of the best sites is, of course, NOAA. Um, and they have all kinds of information as far as getting prepared for hurricanes. But people have been saying for a long time that hurricanes are getting worse and they're getting more and more. According to NOAA, that's not correct. We've had hurricanes through long as we've recorded stuff, bad ones, mild ones, ones that just skirted, Florida and Texas and Louisiana and the Carolinas and stuff like that. So there really isn't that much data that it's increasing. But just to go over a few, like in the 2020s, we've got one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine hurricanes that made landfall, and they run from Hannah, which was a Cat 1 in 7 of 20, Isis, which was a Cat 1 in 8 of 20, and then Laura, Cat 4, which hit Louisiana and Texas in August of 20. Sally, a Cat 2, which hit Alabama and Florida in September of 20. Delta, which was a Category 2, 85-mile-an-hour winds, October of 20. Zeta, 20 was a bad year. 20 had a lot of storms. We made it all the way to Z, which was a Cat 3. It hit Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. And that was in October of 1920. Uh, in 21, you had one storm that hit the mainland, which was Ida. It was a Category 4. If you're going to have one, I guess you might as well have a big one. Sustained winds of 130 miles an hour, and that hit Louisiana in August of 21. Then also in 21, I guess there were two. So Nicholas was a Cat 1, 65-mile-an-hour winds hit Texas. And then Ian, which was a Cat 4. And this thing had 135-mile-an-hour sustained winds, and that was in September of 22. And that really took care of Florida pretty bad. I had some good friends, guys that I retired with in the fire service that had moved down here that got pretty devastated. Matter of fact, I just got an email from one of the guys that they just got their boat back. And I know some other people up in Illinois that have places in Florida, down around Fort Myers, a little bit south of there. Their places still aren't even rebuilt yet. So, but this started with Southwest Florida, Southeast Florida, then came back and hit Northeast Florida, and then South Carolina. So when it first hit, it was a Category 4 and then downgraded to a Category 1. But what do you need to do to prepare? There's a lot of things for your homes. You basically want to stockpile some plywood. Take a look at the windows that you're going to want to cover up, the doors and stuff like that you need to. Caulk, screws. You're going to want, for later after cleanup, you're going to want a mold kit. A mold kit is basically goggles, N95 respirator mask, gloves, and bleach. You're going to want to stockpile some non-perishable foods. You're going to want to have a weather radio, tarps, and tie-down cords. You're also going to want to make sure that you have plenty of fresh water per person, basically a gallon a day, because you definitely may not have any water. Um, Other items to prepare with: first aid kit, medication. If you can, try to make sure that you at least have 7 days. Um, Work it out with your pharmacy. I know a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll go right down to the last pill. Well, if you go down to the last pill and can't get to the pharmacy, you're going to have a lot of problems. So try to work it out with your pharmacy or your insurance company, or just pay up a little bit to have a little bit extra. Like we talk on some of our videos, just like with having food supplies and stuff like that, you want to be like, we've talked about 3 deep stockpiling. Rotate, get an extra supply of medicine, maybe a month supply, and then rotate that through. You might have to pay full price for it. Insurance might not cover it. They might cover it. You never know. um, Make sure you have copies of important documents, have cash on hand, emergency blankets, maps of the area. Although depending on how bad the hurricane is, the area, you might not be able to you know tell what the area is, roads and stuff like that, but maps of the area, list of important phone numbers, flashlights, and lots of extra batteries, rain gear, life straw, filtration devices. You're still gonna, the storm's not gonna stay around forever, and you're gonna want to have insect and sun repellent lotion on hand, sanitation and personal items like gloves, garbage bags, and toilet paper. Also want to have hand wipes or antibacterial lotion or sanitary wipes with you, just to clean up if you don't have running water. Small toolkit, power charging blocks, extra cables for your phones and stuff like that. And if you can, get a solar charger for your phones and stuff. Extra set of car and house keys, and extra clothing and shoes. This is what you want to have put together for your hurricane kit. This is not your everyday use. You're not going to go to that. If you do go to that, make a note of it so you can go back and replace it. But this is just for hurricanes. Nice thing about a hurricane is you do have some time to prepare, but I don't think you have enough time to prepare all this stuff. So put it all together. You've got it in your house. We've already talked about that, how to start prepping and stuff. 90% of the stuff you're going to have in your house, you just have to gather it and put it in one place. Okay, so, and then before you leave or the storm hits, turn freezers and fridges to lowest temperature. Use dry or black ice to keep food cold for up to 2 days. If you have an automatic generator, a lot of people have automatic generators, make sure it's clear. As I've said in a couple of my other videos, a couple of our biggest fires we had when I was a fireman was people that didn't even know that they had an automatic generator in their garage, and they just put all kinds of crap and stuff like that around it. So when the power went up and the generator turned up and it got hot, it caught on fire. And both houses basically were destroyed because they didn't even know they had automatic Generac generators. So make sure they're clear and set up. Board up your home, and for some reason, the article that I read, it said, do not tape your windows. I don't know why. Bring in items from the outside, obviously. Always make sure your vehicles are full, but especially at this time, if you know the hurricane's coming and there's a chance of it hitting, get your vehicles filled up right away. After first notification. Close windows and shut off propane tanks. Your first decision at that point is going to be, are you going to stay or are you going to go? And the question is going to be, well, where are you going? Hotels, if you can, make a reservation as quick as possible. Go inland and to higher ground. If you have relatives, make sure you call them and set it up ahead of time and say, hey, this is where we live now. There can be hurricanes down here. Is there any chance that we can come hang out with you during a storm? And it's much better to give them a little warning and stuff like that. Shelter. If you're going to just shelter in someplace else, you can't even read my own writing. You can text shelter and your zip code to, this is interesting, this I didn't know. So you text shelter and your zip code to 43362, and you'll get a list of open shelters, okay? And that's through the Red Cross, or you can also contact local officials or FEMA. Um, and then your pets, obviously service animals versus pets are totally different. If you have a service animal, they're accepted everywhere. It's just automatic. It's the law. If you have a service animal, they have to accept your pet. Um, but please, some of the people that have pets, I know there are vets and boarding places down here in Florida that will take your pet, and they will shelter them for you. But please don't leave them behind. We hear stories after stories of pets just wandering around because their owners left them behind, which is really not good for the pet or anybody else. Make sure when you're looking for a hotel, stay at a pet-friendly hotel, or put your pet up with your vet or a kennel, and also have their bug out bag. Yeah, your pets, your cats, your dogs, and whatever else you have, they need their own bug out bag also. So make sure you take it with it, because like when we came down here, we boarded our dogs, and they have a nice little backpack that's got toys and food and chews, extra leashes, uh, information, vaccination information, and other medicine that they might need. They also have their own bug out bag. And make sure ID tags are up to date with your cell phone number on them, and consider microchipping your animal, which is always good, because if for some reason they get out and they don't have a collar on, or the collar breaks or whatever, they're still chipped, and they can always, people can scan it, and they can get a hold of you. All right, coming home. All right, everything's over with your home. If your home's still there, make sure you check fridge and freezer. Make sure that the food's still cold in there. If it's not, obviously get rid of it. Don't keep it. Throw it away. Check for flood damage. The CDC says dry and clean home within 24 to 48 hours. If you can't dry it, throw it out. Remove all drywall and insulations that's wet, and inspect your roof to see if you can still live there. Do not go into buildings in areas that are flooded, and watch out for downed or loose power lines. That's a good point. Downed or loose power lines. Depending on the area of devastation, what a lot of people don't know about the power company is the grid is set up that if a line goes down, it notices it, and it may not be immediate, but it's going to go, oh, wait a second, is it really down, or did something really happen? We're going to send more power through it. So a down line that isn't arcing or isn't doing anything can all of a sudden start arcing again. Then also the other problem is what the power grid will try to do if the power is coming this way, and for some reason it can't get over to this area, it's going to backfeed it around the other way, which is going to electrify that line again. A lot of people are electrified and killed, not by the storm, but by the power lines. Also, where power lines are down and there is power in the area, or at any time there are lines down, do not touch any fencing that's metal. It will electrocute you just as quick. All right, prepping ahead of time. Install wind resistant windows and pull down storm shutters. Those what you want to install on your house. Waterproof your basement. Elevate heating systems, water heater and outlets. Install backup sump pump system, and purchase a water alarm, so water getting into the basement will alarm. Make sure you have flood insurance, because a lot of the hurricanes bring a lot of water, so you're going to have more flooding than anything else. Take pictures of everything inside and outside your home and everything that you own. Put together a family emergency plan. That's really important. Let everybody know what's going on, what to do, where to go, what to bring, your out-of-state family contacts, and reunion points. Just remember, you as the prepper in the family, unless you've got the whole family on board, what if you're not there? What if you're away on a business trip? What if you're at work and you can't get home right away? Everybody at that home needs to know. Now, a hurricane isn't as bad because everybody can get home. You got plenty of time. You know what's coming, although you don't know what category it's going to be when you first find out about it. All right, some final points here. If you're gonna stay away from windows. If you stay, don't evacuate unless officials recommend it or require it. Boil water or add 16 drops of bleach per gallon. Let stand for a half hour. Avoid driving through flood water. 12 inches can move a car. And yeah, you ever walk on the beach and see how much of a wave can push you around? Avoid driving. Okay, a freeze trick: cup, water, and a quarter. Check that out. It's pretty neat. It will show you how long stuff stays frozen. Avoid stepping into storm water. It could be sharp objects, chemicals, bacteria, and down power lines can be in that water somewhere. So you don't want to do that. With a hurricane, you have time, but if you find you are missing something, get to a store sooner than later. Uh, Hurricane season's no mystery. You know they're coming. You're not going to be shocked by it. It's like I used to tell the Boy Scouts that I worked with. What, are you surprised you're 18 in 6 months and you're still trying to become an eagle? You knew when your 18th birthday was. It's just like you know when hurricane season is. Just prepare. Um, and if you think about it, if you've got everything else prepared, like your vehicle kit, your everyday carry, your bug out bag, or your inch bag, and you've got clothing all set up, you should be covered. It shouldn't be a big deal. So one last thing here before I shut this off is there's a great article here. It's called Before the Storm. Got it from the Ready Store. It is an article by Brandon from the Ready Store, and it kind of talks about being prepared for a hurricane. Like I said, you can go to any, just DuckDuckGo, how do I become prepared for a hurricane? And it'll come up with all kinds of articles, government articles, state articles, uh, independent people like me, videos and articles on how to be prepared. Um, for a hurricane, but basically, have a hurricane emergency kit, make a family plan, buy a generator, be ready to secure your property, listen to the news and the weather, secure your property, turn off utilities, designate a safe room in your house, just in case you're going to stay. I know some of the smaller categories you can stick around. Gather your supplies. That's the key thing. Have your supplies in one area. After the storm, wait for clearance. Um, be aware of the hazards that are in the area and clean up. So hopefully this isn't a bad hurricane season down here in the southern part of the United States and for Mexico and stuff like that. And hopefully you stay safe and you keep your eye to the sky and your ears to the weather and be prepared. If you have, like I said, if you have any other questions, go to your government websites and check on how to be prepared, and also have a weather radio to keep you informed at all times. So that's it. That's it for our hurricane season update this year. And we hope, like I just said, hope you are safe. But we always end our videos here, and we're going to end it from beautiful Treasure Island, Florida, which is absolutely gorgeous. The sun is coming out, so it's really nice. People are waking up. They're having their coffee, and everybody's going to enjoy another lovely day down here along the Gulf. So always be aware of your surroundings. Always have enough food, water, medicine, ammunition, and other items, whether you have to shelter in place or bug out. And please, prep like your life depends on it, because it really does. Thanks a lot. I'm going to go goof around. I'm going to play here in the sand and have some fun, but a little bit more coffee before I do that. Thanks a lot. Take care. Thanks, subscribers.